So we're going to talk about tonight, really talking about time management, because honestly, the one huge downfall with LuLaRoe is time. It's the one thing that none of us have enough time of. We don't have enough of. Every single person on here could probably legitimately say that if I said, what's one more thing that you need help with? And you guys would say time. So tonight I'm hoping to give you guys a few tips and tricks and things that I have learned, things that I have not mastered, things that I have mastered, because there are things that I've heard. If you've never heard Amelia speak on time management, Amelia Lyons, Deanne's daughter, does an amazing presentation on time management, which I think there's a few. If you've gone to convention, you've heard it. If you've gone to leaderships, she says it all. I think I've heard her say it maybe 3 or 4 times. It's really, really good. So I've taken some things that she said. I've taken some things that I personally do in my business. I've taken some things that you guys personally do in your business. So let me first go. Let me start sharing the screen so I know, because I know some of y'all like to, some of you guys like to have let me see if I can move it. Let me make sure. Okay, yes. So, because some of you guys just like your visual. So let's go through. One thing is, if you're in the very first 130 or 120 days, when it comes to those, just kind of get over the fact that those first 120 days are going to be crucial. They are going to be absolutely insane. No one has enough time. So no matter what you do, you're not going to have enough time to do everything that you want to do in those 120 days. But that's okay. Just kind of keep moving. As Deanne would say, get those Fred Flintstone feet on and just keep moving, just keep moving, just keep moving. And when you're talking about those 120 days, you have to realize that you more than likely, there's going to be a lot of sacrificing in there, just because you want to make sure that you do have your Fred Flintstone feet are going on, and you do want to make sure that you are doing everything possible to get your name out and to get your product in people's hands and people touching them and people feeling them and people getting, hearing who the newest consultant is. So, but once you are all out of those 120 days, that's what we're going to talk about here. Okay, so we're going to talk about, we aren't going to be really talking about those first 120 days. We're talking about the 121 days or the 121 plus days, because those are the days where it's every single day. It's the things that are going to be maybe for 6 months, for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. And just it's managing what all your day-to-day things, or your to-do list. The number one reason people get out of LuLaRoe is because of time. The one thing that I always hear is, I didn't know how much time it was going to take. And so it's really important for you, one, to figure out what your why is, because everything always comes back to your why, in my opinion, because what are you willing to sacrifice for your why? Okay, what are you willing to sacrifice for your why? And that's the bulk of it. The bulk of it, are you willing to go sleepless nights? There have been mornings that I was posting on Facebook, taking a picture at 4 a.m. invoicing, because I get up at 5 a.m. for work. So at 4 a.m. I was doing invoicing, and my pop-up went to 1 or 2 the night before, and I could barely keep my eyes open. So I was doing them at 4 o'clock in the morning. I went and took a nap, and then I got up for the day. But all those days I was thinking about that why. That if you guys saw my dream board, that upper left-hand corner is that's my why. And I know I've showed you guys this before, but in this origami heart, that's my why's in there. And that why is to put my children on the bus. So a lot of this first 120 days is that hustle, and it all comes down to your why there. But after 120 days, you really want to start focusing on what's your why and what are you willing to sacrifice. So we're going to kind of start first with, where should your time be? Where should your time be going when it comes to if you have a team or if you don't have a team? Okay, because this is a big daddy. Your time is going to be determined if you have a team or if you don't have a team. So let's focus on the left side of the screen first. LuLaRoe, you'll hear a lot talk about that 80-10-10. And without a team, it's all about you though. But how do you break up where your time is going to be? Okay, so without a team, you should be 80% working on your own sales. So that means we're talking about finding new ways. uploading. We're talking about going live, shop the box, open houses, in homes. Now, well, how much time is that? Well, that's dependent upon what is your why. How much time do you have to give? And we'll kind of go through a little time in a few minutes. But
this is my meeting, okay, on my phone.
But so when we're going through the next one is going to be 10%.
What?
And attending these calls, attending the smaller.
Oh yeah, I told you I'd get you. Okay, let me go get you some. Be very good, okay?
Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Hold on. You all know what I'm doing. Okay. So 10% is extremely important for you to be on team calls, be on home office trainings if you can, be reading those emails. So that 10% is that self-education. If you see my list of books right here, when LuLaRoe talks about self-help, okay, so this is all, excuse the title of the one. Can you guys see this? So these are all my books. And LuLaRoe talks about it all the time about reading and getting better. And so I have them in here. And I always get the question is, Amy, you think I'm going to have time to read? When do I have time to read? So LuLaRoe will challenge, when I did the Coaches Focus Group, they challenge us to read 15 minutes a day. And that's part of that self-education. Getting better about leadership, getting better about sales, whatever it might be, but just bettering yourself, because that ultimately will better your business. It might be on time management. There's a lot of books on time management. And then the other 10% is going to be dealing with placing your orders, doing your taxes. Taxes should be done every single month. Ask Kina. It takes her into June sometimes because she might build it up and she might not. I mean, I throw mine all into a pile up here, which I should be doing monthly versus at the very end of the year. So if you have a team, team's completely different. Okay, team is completely different. Now, if you have a team, 70% should be on your own. Okay, so we're talking 50% working on your sales. So you should be working about 30% less on your own personal. But then you're talking about 10% self-education. So maybe you're focusing on the team aspect of it, how to learn the 4 lenses. That's been a huge thing with me, is learning the 4 lenses and learning the 4 lenses, or the lenses of the women that I work with. Because every single person you're going to work differently with based off their color lenses. So maybe you've never heard of the color lenses. So that's the first thing that you're going to focus on, and that's going to be your self-education. And then same thing, administration. Then the main difference there is that working on the team stuff. So now not only do you have to focus on your own team or on your own business, now you're thinking about, okay, I need to give 30%. And this is a number that LuLaRoe has said. This is, you can kind of gauge 50, 30, 10, 10. Do we all do it? No. There are some weeks that I'm well into 50, 60 on the team. And then there are some that I'm, maybe only 20. So really depending upon where your team is, maybe a brand new team might need a little more. Maybe it's a tougher week and you need a little more. Or maybe it's just, nothing's going on and there's not a lot of time at all. So you kind of can back away a little and devote more of your attention. But one thing that when it comes to time management, I feel like I hear all the time, I just don't have enough time to my personal sales. And whether it's your kids or whether it's your job, whether it's your team, whatever it might be. So you guys need to start focusing and breaking down what percentages that you need to be working on and when you need to work on them. And so that's going to be a little that we're going to talk about tonight. Oops, sorry. So some of the obstacles, and we're going to go through some of these, but some of the obstacles are time sucks. You'll hear you'll hear me say a lot, time sucks that you're going to encounter. Social media distractions. Earlier I was talking on a Marco Polo and I was working on this and I said, oh my gosh, I've got to get off my computer, but I needed to do this presentation. But the social media, I was looking at something on Facebook because I was trying to upload and I'm in Facebook jail right now. What do you know? And so I'm like, oh, and I somehow got sidetracked. And I was like, no, focus. So the social media distraction, maybe you have no family support. There are a lot of people on LuLaHappy that have no family support. And that I don't know how that is because my husband's extremely supportive. So if that's an obstacle, that's a big deal. So we can kind of go around that, and there I'll give you a couple techniques or not maybe techniques, but maybe a couple ideas that we can work around that, or we can work through that. Not work around it. Can't work around family, but you can work through it. Okay. Private messages and email overload. I don't know about y'all, but that's like my two are social media and my private, it's not my email, but my private message overload. Those are two things that can happen pretty much all the time, and I could be working just on my private messages all day. So we're going to kind of give some ideas. Some housework, family life, mom guilt. If you haven't had mommy guilt, if you're a mom and you haven't had mommy guilt, ooh, that mammy jammy is real. That's a tough one. So we're going to go over some ideas, what you can do for mommy guilt. If you have bad habits, and those bad habits can be invoicing and shipping. We all got them. So we're going to give some techniques of what you can do with those. And then if you have outside LuLaRoe work, which that's just a big old obstacle. Let's be honest. Who wants to have a job outside of LuLaRoe? Not me, 31 days. But so it's just that whole, that's going to be a factor. That is going to be an obstacle, as I would call a time suck. So, but before we go into some ideas, some things that you have to realize, there are going to be a lot of obstacles that are going to come up that are going to make you change your schedule. Get over that one. Okay. You have to have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, H. You just have to. There are going to be times where maybe your inventory doesn't show up. Maybe your internet's not working. You're like, oh God, maybe you went into Facebook jail. I had a month ago, I was in massive Facebook jail, and I was supposed to do this amazing inventory upload, and I couldn't because of it. So maybe, hold on, just make sure I have notes. Maybe that your hostess fails at the very last minute. Maybe it is the 9th hour. Is that the 9th hour? Oh, baby. If you are in the 9th hour and you had this amazing hostess or you thought this was going to be this huge party and you're like, okay, I'm going to cruise qualify with this girl, or I'm going to hit my magic number of $5,000. Okay. My goal of the month is $5,000 and I'm going to hit it. And she bails last minute and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So you have to make sure that, it's just life. Obstacles are going to come up. So you have to expect some unbalanced days. You have to expect that some days you're going to sell one item and the next day you're going to sell 90. And then the next day you're going to sell nothing. You're like, okay, maybe not 90. More rock on with your bad self if you sell 90. But one day is going to be none. One day is going to be 20. And the next day is none. You're like, but I did the same thing at the same exact time. And I had 1,000 times better inventory. So what's going on? Okay. So you just have to, keep going and don't be hard on yourself. And if it's something that you're just beginning, I don't know how many times I've talked to people and they said, I've tried going live and no one was there. And I said, okay, well, how many times did you do it? Well, one. What? Do it again. But no, do it again. Keep doing it. So, and it's kind of like the picture I put in here. Life is like, I would say LuLaRoe is like riding a bike. You just have to keep going. Just keep going. And you will find some kind of balance in there, and you will find something that might work that maybe doesn't work yesterday, but is going to work tomorrow. But you just have to be aware that there are going to be some challenges that come your way. Okay. So what can we do to find balance? Because this is probably, again, the number one thing that we all want to do. There's going to be a few things that are extremely difficult to do. But if you can accomplish, even if you can go through these, how many are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 6 easy things on the side. Not even easy, they're difficult. But if you can check each one of these off, I guarantee you will have so much more of your time. That time to maybe sit on the couch with your husband, or sit on the couch and read a book with your kid, or maybe even put your kid to bed, whatever it might be. So 1, remove all digital distractions. Guys, that's depending upon what you're doing, if you're supposed to be taking pictures, turn your phone off, turn your phone into airplane mode, because then when you're taking pictures, you can't go on Facebook and be like, oh, look at that. And how many of us are guilty where we go on Facebook to do one thing and 20 minutes later, you're like, whoa, what happened? I was supposed to go on there for 1 minute. Do you know how many nights that happens to me where I'm like, let me just check one more, make sure I don't have any orders. And I come upstairs like 45 minutes later and my husband's like, checking one thing, right? I'm like, my bad. So it's a huge distraction. So maybe putting it aside. And not only that, maybe you guys said, and this is one thing when it comes to the kids or the family, maybe you have a set time of every single day that no matter what, the phone gets turned off. Because even if you, like Megan Parker, she does a basket time. Every night when she comes home, the phones go off in airplane mode into a basket. Because even if you put in a basket, if you hear that ring or if you hear the basket vibrate, you're going to run over and like look at it. And then that might lead to more stuff. And then instead of having good quality time with your family, you're distracted over here going, I wonder if I have an order. I wonder if someone needs me. I wonder if someone's calling me. I wonder if, you're doing all of these wondering. So if you can turn your phone off and have one-on-one, so say like from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, or whatever the time might be, set a specific time that you don't touch your phone. Because we are this generation that are glued to our phone. I teach high school, and I'm telling you right now, my biggest challenge is to have those kids put that phone away. And my kids are no different. I mean, my daughter goes into like shock when we take her electronics away from her Monday morning. Like she is a fiend. Like she starts like, when am I getting it? When am I getting it? I'm like, Friday night. And so if you were able to put that away, then your children aren't always seeing it too. So that's partly, you can kind of get rid of the mommy guilt a little too, because there's going to be better interaction with them versus, yeah, what you need. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm not judging. I do the same thing. If at possible, if you can consider hiring help. I know not everyone has the means to do that, but maybe if it takes you 4 hours to clean your house, what would happen if you had 4 hours to devote directly to LuLaRoe? What happens if you had 4 hours to do an open house instead of doing those cleaning? Could you make, like, I know here I pay $100 for my housekeeper. Can I make more than $100 in those 4 hours? Is my time more valuable? So if I can open up my house for 4 hours and make $400, I have $100 to pay her plus $300 more dollars. And now you've just opened up 4 hours of your time to go into LuLaRoe. Good night. I love you, baby girl. So you were able to do, more of that. Or maybe if you have children at home, you're a stay-at-home and you have children at home, maybe you could say, work it out with a neighbor or a friend or a mommy from the mommy group and say, hey, if you take my kids 4 hours today, I get your kids 4 hours tomorrow, and you switch off time. Because if you can, one of the things that we'll talk about is if you can devote specific one-on-one time, or not one-on-one time, but specific, all you're doing is your main focus is on LuLaRoe, you will get 1,000 times more done where if you're doing 10 different things at once. I try to do it with kids where I'm doing something, my kid's like, I need something. I'm like, oh, okay. And I go over here, and then there's that squirrel moment, and whatever I was doing over here, that moment has passed and I no longer am doing it. And instead of it taking 10 minutes, and now it's taking me 30 minutes because I'm getting distracted and doing side things too. A big one, if you have a lot of private messages, if you get a lot of questions, prepare some email or personal message responses. If you have not done the shortcut on if you have an iPhone, I don't know if you can do it on Android, but if you have not done shortcut keys, go and do them. Okay. So like I have one, where are mine? I do addresses, customer link, and a return policy. So like if I want them to fill out my customer form, all I do is hashtag form, and that entire thing, hey, would you please fill out this link? It'll help me invoice my customer link is this. Okay. So if you don't know how to do that, that is simply, I'm going to get my phone right now. That is simply go into settings, go under general, go under keyboard, and then go under text replacement. That's all you're doing. Okay. So if you're so again, settings, general, keyboard, and text replacement, and then you can just add in different stuff. So like I get asked all the time, what's your address? So I just do hashtag address, and it pops up. My address is 11 ... That takes me, I know you're like, what? That takes me 3 minutes. Well, guys, doing hashtag address took me 5 seconds. So if all of these little minutes over and over and over are adding up, you're going to save time. It might only be 20 minutes, but 20 minutes with my family at the end of the day is totally worth those little small prepared PM responses. So it's just one thing. So again, I just do the form exchange. Oh, I do exchange too, where it says like my exchange. Let me see if I click on it. Exchange. Oh, I can't. Exchanges are super easy, and it does. I forget what it is. Just come here. My exchanges are super easy. Just send something. I literally send something. I can't see the rest of it. So I did that as a text replacement. So all I have to do is have a good night. Do hashtag exchanges. You can leave it open if you guys want it. Sure. Yes, thank you. So just do like hashtag exchange and then it goes up. So it's awesome. Next one is going to be have a set pop-up schedule. Okay. And for this is you need to give your available dates. Never ask anyone, so what date are you available? You need to make sure, and we're going to go, I think on the next, do we go on the next slide? Maybe it's the next slide or the slide after that. But it really is going to be dependent upon you. You have to figure out what is beneficial for you. And that's one way you're going to find balance. If you have 10 soccer games, a tournament and soccer games in one weekend, and someone's like, oh, I would really like to do it on that date. And you're going, oh my gosh, how am I going to squeeze in another thing? And then you're burnout, you are tired, you don't want to do it. There's no fun in LuLaRoe at that moment. And it's just another thing on your plate. Another ball that you're going to have to juggle. Are you going to enjoy it? No, you're going to hate it. So if you say, okay, I have nothing planned today, I can do it this day, or this day. It's the best. And if you like pop it up on Facebook in your group and say, these are my available dates, you can put in a couple even lies in there and say, just say you're busy. Like do a unicorn on the days that you're available and do X's on days you're not. They don't need to know those X's that are maybe because it's a soccer tournament. They don't need to know why it's an X. Just say those dates aren't available. Or, just do, and you can even add an X's over the unicorns. Remember, one of the reason I chose my sponsor, one of the major reasons I didn't go with someone local, because I reached out to a local girl and said, and I was looking just for a party. And I said, what available dates do you have? And she said, I have every single date. What do you need? What do you want? And I was like, right away, nope, she's not successful. She's not going to be able to help me when she doesn't even have a calendar or a party on her calendar. And that's when I went online and said, okay, I need to find a sponsor who knows something versus local. And so legitimately, I know that sounds terrible, and I've said it so many times, but you don't want people, it's kind of what Dan says, fake it till you make it. You don't have to give every single date available. This is your business. You have to make sure that the business works for you. And don't let the customer rule your world. Don't let them run your business. It's your business. I already kind of said the whole finding your why. That's a big one here, because if your goal is to have more family time, and then all of a sudden you look at your calendar and you're like, oh my God, I just booked 19 parties in 1 month. Is that fulfilling your why? No, absolutely not. So maybe you have to scale back. And there are times where maybe you say, I'm just so sorry, I am booked for the month of June. And you give it to someone. I've given parties away before when I said, I can't handle anymore. My plate is so full that I'm going to pass it on to someone who has an amazing inventory, and you are going to be so excited. You will be happy. I promise you, she's going to treat you amazing. Money's not always worth sacrifices. Having that next pop-up is not always worth a sacrifice if that's not your why. Get over this whole I've got to cruise qualify, or I've got to do, but everyone's doing amazing. The average on this team I don't want to say only, but the average consultant on our team sells about between $2,500 and $5,000 a month. Yet so many people are comparing, saying, I need to do 5 to 10, I need to do 15. No, get out of that comparison trap. What's your why? And you've got to make sure it fits your lifestyle and your family and your children and your husband and your happiness. Don't sacrifice your happiness because of what you think you should be doing. It's all about you. So make sure in this situation that you are finding out what your why is, because that's going to help you figure out what you want to do. And then hopefully that'll help you find out your balance a little. And then the next one I find just extremely important with this. For this one, we are talking about setting realistic goals. I don't have any of that on setting realistic goals. If you say, we'll talk about time in a second, but if you say, I've got 2 hours to work this week, that's all I've got. But you know what? I want to cruise qualify. That ain't going to happen, people. You're not cruise qualifying off 2 hours a week. You're just not going to. Now, if you say, I need to make a car payment, 2 hours is very possible, guys. So you need to be realistic. If you were trying to make $1,000, you need to look at going, okay, how many hours do I need to work? So looking at this last month, I was able to sell $5,000 and I worked on average of 5 hours a week. So at that $5,000, so that means I'm bringing in $2,500 back into my inventory, and I'm bringing $2,500 home. For me, I personally, at that $2,500, I'd say, okay, I'm putting $1,000 into taxes or whatever it is, and I've got $1,500 more dollars. So then I know that if I'm trying to make $1,000, I know from last month, I need to be working 5 hours a week if that's what it was last month. So trying to figure out, evaluate what was working last month to comparing how much you made, and was that what your goal was? If your goal was to make 10,000 and you only made 5,000, then you need to reevaluate that. Okay, 5 hours wasn't enough, or maybe I need to do a different avenue. If I don't have time to take photography, dude, girls, go online, go live. There are some people, one of the local girls around here, she hasn't done pictures, which just, I can't even imagine, since November. She's not taking pictures since November. Just let that sink in. I'm like, oh, that's just, yeah, amazing. So if you are, like Deanne would tell you, never wait for the time to be right. If you don't have time, take that box and put it in front of you, go, we're going to have an open box party. Let's go, guys, and go live on that. And let it sit up there for a couple of days. And maybe you want to do sales tonight, but you don't have time to take inventory, or you don't have to take pictures until Saturday. Go live tonight. That's going to doing an unveiling box is going to take you an hour, whereas maybe it's uploading and putting it in Shop the Row and uploading that might take you 4. So do what you have time to do today, and then do the rest of it tomorrow. So if you're realistic with your goals, your time is going to be better spent. And you're going to be able to know, or you're going to be able to figure out how much time do you actually need to have for those. So when we're going with the realistic goals too, you have to also ask yourself, where do you see yourself in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years? Because that's a big thing. If you want to go LuLaRoe full time, you're going to have to spend a little more time than maybe the next person. If you are looking at maybe moving in 6 months, and all you do is in homes. We do have some girls on our team that's all they do is in homes. If they would move, they're going to have to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? What am I going to need to do to make my business be sustainable or be successful in my next location? So you have to kind of gauge where you're going to be and how much, maybe right now you have a 4-year-old at home, but guess what? Next year, Maddie going to kindergarten. I've got, my time is a little more free. So now I can start figuring out, right now it's not working so hot because I have a child at home, but next year she's going to kindergarten. So I've got more time. So now I can, set a higher goal, or I can set more realistic goals. And I liked kind of this I got off the LuLaRoe site. Setting goals for ourselves is one of the most important things that we can do for time management, because they are a constant reminder of what we are working towards and why we devote the time we have to what we have. There's not enough time in the world, unfortunately. So if you are devoting precious time to LuLaRoe, hopefully you have this end goal, or you have this goal that you're trying to achieve. Because then if you have that end goal, going back to your why, all those sleepless hours, or all those sleepless nights, or those tired, those hours that you are tired and you don't want to do it, or you're like, oh, I just don't want to do this. I want to be on the couch. Or, I just want to take the week off, or I want to take the weekend off, or whatever it is. I'm going to go for it. But if you find yourself just always continually, taking time off, you have to go back to, what do you want to do? What's the purpose? Because goals will give us some kind of sense of purpose and direction. It's big time. Every time I'm like, I want to be lazy, I'm like, okay, nope, eye on the prize. And for me, eye on the prize is that bus, seeing that big yellow bus that first day of school. So setting realistic goals will make our time commitments more realistic. And then it also makes us prioritize. Oh, let me go up one. Oh, hold on. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. Well, I think I put that one out of order. Hold on. Well, we'll do that in a second. So when you're talking about scheduling times, because this is what we're going to focus kind of on for a second, is how are we focusing on times? One, you personally get to determine your work hours, not your customers. If you have a bunch of customers that want answers at 11 a.m., too darn bad. Don't answer them. Don't look at your phone. Oh, well, I don't care if you have your phone in front of you and you're like, oh, look, it's 11:30 and Peggy Sue just wants to know what silk this is. Let me run downstairs. If your hours are over, your hours are over. Stick to them. That is your responsibility to make sure that you are sticking to your times. Because if you set a very strict guideline with your guys, like, guys, I'm teaching from the hours of 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I am not going to be answering, they are going to know it. There have been times where people have said, like, someone new on my page would comment with like comment at like at 9 o'clock, and then at noon would tag me because God forbid I'm not on my phone. Someone would reply, a customer that I know through just a customer would reply saying she teaches, she she gets back to you later on in the afternoon, which is, and the person said, oh, okay. Because there are some consultants that are on 24/7, but you don't have to be. LuLaRoe is overwhelming because we allow it to run our lives. So if you set specific times and say, this is when I'm going to do this, this is when I'm going to do that, and that's it, your life's going to be 1,000 times easier. Invoice once a day. Don't be like, oh my God, I got an order, I got to invoice it. No, wait until the end of the day. Some of the VIP groups that have like 50,000 people that will sell $10,000 in a night take up to 48 hours to invoice. People aren't expecting it instantly like that. And let's be honest, sometimes when I'm shopping, I've been shopping, I'm an addict, and I'll be the first to say it. And I'm shopping on a group and someone invoices me right away. I'm like, whoa, I wasn't even done yet. So some of us are so quick, but then again, there we are. We're attached to our phone and we feel so overwhelmed with LuLaRoe because we are doing everything at all times of the day and we're never taking a break. So do the shipping all at one time. Do the invoicing at one time. Maybe you do all the shipping first thing in the morning, or you say until 10 o'clock. And I don't care if you're going to the post office at noon. If you say your shipping anywhere from shipping is up until 10 o'clock, shipping is 10 o'clock. If your customers want their stuff sent out that day, they're going to pay before 10 o'clock. I can guarantee you that. Now, the whole don't go to the post office daily, that there's numerous things that you can do. If I do more than like 5 or 6 orders, I jam those mammy jammies right into my mailbox and I just flip that thing in and let them come get it. Flip the little red tag. If I have a priority mail, you can schedule, at least through stamps.com, you can schedule a pickup. They will come to your door and pick it up. You can have them knock on the door. You can leave it in your brown box. You can even leave it. I just leave them in a little purple or a pink bag and stick it right on my front porch, and they come and pick it up. And you print out this, or you don't even print it. You just put it in the computer and they'll come to you. There are times where when I first started, I will tell you the best times to do this is like Christmas time. Oh, it's the greatest, where the post office is mayhem and you're like, that could be a 30, 45 minutes time suck right there. Whereas if the postman will come pick it up from your house, that little 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, if you don't live close to a post office, the driving there, the driving back, and standing in line, time suck. You could be doing something that's making you money versus standing in the post office, which isn't making you diddly squat. Okay? So when it says do not go to the post office daily, that doesn't mean don't ship out daily, which some people don't. Some people legitimately don't ship out daily. That's up to you. So maximize your sales time. So divide work time and your personal time. This is a big time here because if I'm coming onto my Mac right now and I'm coming downstairs to do Lula, I'm not checking my school email. I'm coming down here because I've got an hour to do with Lula. And at that point, that's what my focus needs to be on. It shouldn't be focusing on going online and seeing what my kids' grades are on Parent Portal, or what I missed on Facebook, or answering some personal messages. No, like personal, like non-LuLaRoe messages. Focus on work and say, okay, at this time, I'm going to do this. Because what happens is if I come down here, I'm like, honey, I'm going to do LuLaRoe, and I come down here and I mess around for 3 hours. When I go upstairs, my husband said, well, what do you do? I'm like, or when I said, oh, it was only going to take me an hour, and I end up being down here for 3 hours, do you think he's going to like LuLaRoe after a while? No. But because he's going to think all of my time was down here was doing LuLaRoe, when it really wasn't. I was doing time sucks because I was messing around with personal time. And maybe you can be on the couch next to him, which it's not quality time, but maybe you can be on the couch talking on Facebook to your girlfriends, or, non-LuLaRoe time. You're doing non-LuLaRoe stuff up there with him versus being in an office or being somewhere where he doesn't see you and all he knows is you're gone. And I know someone was like kind of go out to go into our holes, just trying to get away from things, and like, oh, he's going to cook tonight, or he's going to put the kids down when I'm in here. But just remember, every time you do that also is he's looking at it as more time away from the family. And that's one of the husband's hardest jobs, or hardest things to not respect, but to understand with LuLaRoe, is that not even to understand, but to realize that you're away from the family so much because of this. When in reality, are you really doing LuLaRoe stuff when you're always away from them? I know I'm to blame. That's not always the case. So have a set pop-up schedule. I like this one, and I already said this one, but going with available dates, work around your family schedule. Don't let LuLaRoe interfere with your family. Put your family in the calendar first. Because if I'm a hostess and I say, and I look at an empty calendar, I'm like, oh, do I want Saturday or Sunday? I'm okay with both dates, but if you have stuff that's already booked Saturday and you're in your head going, oh, please pick Sunday, please pick Sunday, please pick Sunday. And what happens when I pick Saturday? Then again, it goes the whole resentment. Okay. And the next one I love, and I think Maureen, didn't you do this one? I think you posted this a while ago, and this really Chandler, this was you, wasn't it? I think her computer's frozen. But I think this was Maureen Chandler, and she did this a while ago, but I really like this, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but what it is, it's where you break up your free time into 10-minute increments. And at that point, you give yourself 10 minutes. That's all you do. 10 minutes to get off Facebook, 10 minutes to get off this, 10 minutes to do that. Focus on whatever you need to do for just simply 10 minutes. So let's think about, which I disagree. I don't know how many of y'all sleep for 7 hours a night. That would be amazing. But the average person sleeps 7 hours a night. Again, not really sure where they count that with. But that's going to leave 17 hours awake each day, or they say about 1,000 minutes. So if you're looking at those 1,000 minutes as 110-minute blocks. So if you're breaking things up, that means you can get 100 things done. Now, that might be the showering, obviously showering, food, cooking, and all that's in there. But kind of look at it like this. So imagine these 100 blocks laid out, okay, or these 1,000 blocks laid out. And what if you were labeling every single one? And you said, okay, I'm going out with a friend, and that's going to be, for 3 hours. Whatever, 60, what are we talking, is going out to dinner worth 18 blocks. Is going to run your 5-mile run worth 5 blocks when you only have so many in a day. You need to cook, you need to clean, you need to take the kids here, you need to do this, you need to do that. And now maybe you're only left with 15 blocks. So what do you want to do with those 15 blocks? So shade in the ones that are non-negotiable. Cooking dinner, taking the kids to the bus, and it's everything. Showering. I mean, let's be honest. Some days we don't shower. We don't have time to shower. There's always a time where someone's on Mark going, "I'm so sorry, I haven't had time to shower," or I'm like, "I'm so sorry, I haven't showered in 2 days." But looking at it, like if you haven't, you in the day and you're looking at like you have 5 blocks, that's 50 minutes. What do you want to do for that 50 minutes? What's worth it for you? And I just love this because I look at it as I can do anything for 10 minutes. I need to be able to devote 10 minutes to something for me to get it done. And I don't necessarily look at it in a full block, like an entire grid, but I do think about this. And I think Maureen did this, I swear she shared this probably 6 months ago. And this still resonates with me when I come on the computer and I need to do something. I'm like, give it 10 minutes, Amy. All you do is give it 10 minutes. And then you can focus on something else for 10 minutes. Don't be that squirrel moment. 10 minutes. You need 10 minutes to do anything. And maybe you can get that done in 10 minutes. And I know if I don't mess around with stuff, most things I can get done in those 10 minutes. So just try to kind of block everything out into 10 minutes. And what you need to do when you're coming up with this list, or when you're coming up with blocks, or figuring out how much time do you have, you need to make lists, and they need to be ranked. If you would look in my iPad or any of my Mac products, in one of my notes, I do every day or every week, I put in there what I need to do. And it's what do I need to do today? That's my necessities. These are things I have to get done. I have to ship. I have to invoice. I have to maybe do a video. I have to, I need to do photography, whatever I need to upload. Those are my mandatory things. Then what do I need to do this week? I need to take pictures sometime this week for my upload on Tuesday. So whatever items I get this week go up for upload next week. When I first started, I was like, stuff was coming in today, and I was trying to hurry and take pictures to post up that night. I no longer do that because I was doing 90 hours a week, 100 hours a week, and it was mayhem. It was mayhem. But that's also when I was trying to cruise qualify, and I was doing $20,000 a month. But that was the only way I could do it because I was only getting home at 4:30 and I was going to bed at 2 a.m. So I was having to hurry. But now, nope, just needs to get done this week. And then maybe then you're going to go 3, needs to be done this month. So maybe it needs to be done this month is I need to have my monthly meeting with my sponsor and say, okay, this is what I'm doing, here what I'm doing, whatever it might be. It's not something that I need to be done this week or next week. It's not a major importance. It would be nice to get done. And then number 4 is I want to do, but there's no rush. Maybe I'm looking for a new thing to put in my boutique, but my boutique is kicking live without getting a little couch in here for people to sit on. Yeah, it can still open. So it's not worth giving up 10 blocks to go drive an hour and to find that perfect couch. Okay. So this is something that they really, you'll hear Art talk about, saying that make sure that you are setting time limits. And the big thing here is stick with them. I like that some people, in the morning will say, when they make their schedule. Well, one thing is Jordan on my coaches group, Jordan said he recommends, and I was telling my husband about this today, which I am getting, instead of these calendars, which I love my LuLaRoe calendar, but if you notice these calendars don't, I'm on the wrong one. Let's go. I think these in here do not have times in here. Okay, they don't have times in here. They're just blank. He said the old ones, when they used to have them, they used to have specific times on them, which I've never been a fan of the times. I don't like the times, but now that I'm legitimately trying to do better when it comes to time management, I am going to use a time calendar where it says like about a half hour, because then I can say, okay, I am going to answer, all I'm going to do, and I do this already now, but I only usually answer private messages at nighttime. That's something that could be an all-day event. And if I did that, if I'm getting on to answer one private message, and then all of a sudden I am on Facebook, and there goes that time suck. It's drawing me in like, oh, let me look over here when I have no reason to be over here, but I'm over here. So then I only try to do my private messages at nighttime. And there's sometimes where I have to get in there during the day because there's more pressing matters. But for the most part, if it's a simple question, I'm answering them all at nighttime. That's it. But maybe so when I'm home, I'll say, okay, from sick, my goal is for next year is to wake up an hour before the kids so that I can come down here, I can do my morning emails, and I can drink my coffee, and then I can go up and get them on the bus. So then at nighttime, one of the very last things I'm going to do my private messages again at nighttime. Okay, but I'm not going to do them throughout the day. Or maybe I say, okay, and then I'm going to put in there shipping from 10 to 10:30 because my mail comes at 11, and at 11 I'm done shipping for the rest of the day. I'm not going to do any more shipping. I don't care if I get 4 shipping because I know I'm not going to ship those out today. I'm not driving to the post office again. My post man comes at 11. Too bad, so sad. It means they're going out tomorrow. They're going to come back to you if you put out your shipping the next day. Don't worry, people. I mean, if they're paying at 10 a.m. and it goes out the next day, what do you think I do? If someone pays at 10 o'clock when I'm at school, it doesn't go out until tomorrow or until the next day. They're not leaving my page because I'm not shipping it out just like that, instantaneous, in that, whatever. So don't worry about it. Set time. So my calendar is going to say specifically, this is what I'm going to do. It's going to say that I'm going live from 11 to 11:30 or 11 to 12 or whatever it might be. It's going to be very specific. And it's one thing now, it depends on your goal. LuLaRoe is going to be my full-time job. So I'm going to treat it like a full-time business where it has set hours. And I'm going to be working my 40 hours or however many hours it's going to be. So if you're giving, remember we talked about how being realistic and what are your goals. If your goal is to do 10 hours, put those 10 hours out on a calendar and look at it. Is this enough to do 10? I want to have $10,000 a month, or I want to have $5,000 a month. Are these 10 hours, these events that I'm doing throughout the day, because I just gave myself 10 hours a week, is that enough to make $2,000, or is that enough to make $5,000, or whatever your goal is? And that's one way of being able to place out. Will my family be happy enough? And that's coming down to the next one. Will my family be happy enough with this? Will I be happy with this? Because it's very, 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 very easy. And it sounds terrible to say, but it's very easy to almost forget about the family. I'm not literally, but it's you can get like sucked into LuLaRoe and for hours and hours. So don't forget about the family. Make LuLaRoe a family thing if you can. My children love to help with inventory. My kid will be taking out leggings for $1. Like I'll say, okay, take out all those leggings and roll them or shake them out for $5 or $2 or whatever it might be. If they can do photo shoots together, maybe they're packing. Maybe one of you, like my husband, sometimes will come in here and all of them, I will put all the orders to the side and then he start, like as I'm doing labels and he starts labeling them and putting them together. He was helping at one point with photography before I got an assistant. If you have a little girl, take her to a pop-up. Oh my gosh, they're the best. I mean, I watched my sister's little girl, and she's not little. I mean, what's Carly, 9? She's adorable. Like, it's the cutest little thing in the world. She loves it. She loves it. And when it comes to family, the top right-hand picture resonates with me. Being with us, being with your children doesn't mean working from the living room. Like, let that one sink in. I bought a MacBook. I bought a laptop because you know what I said? If I'm at least I'm with them. But am I really with my kids? If my kid's like, can you snuggle with me? I'm like, no, baby, I can't. I'm uploading. I'm doing this. No. And kids just want that one-on-one time. So make sure that if you are setting time apart for your family, set time apart completely no LuLaRoe, no phone. If that means putting your phone away, that means putting your phone on, airplane mode because you have to have it by you because the addiction is real. And if it's not by you, you flip out. I get it. There's been times I'm like, where is it? I start itching. So make sure that you are setting family time every single week. Put it on the calendar. If you've got to straight up put on the calendar 4 to 7 family time, write it in there. On that little calendar that I'm going to have that's going to start at 6 a.m. and go until probably 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to have those blocks. Family from 4 to 7. Kids from 7:30 to 8:30 before they get on the bus. You've got to make sure that you're blocking it because I'm telling you right now, if you can get uninterrupted quality time with them, the mommy guilt's going to be 1,000 times better. There's not going to be mommy guilt. My sister was telling me today when she came up to work to visit me, and she was down in her little office. I don't even know if she's on here. She's on here. She's wanting me to shut up. But she was showing me like a text where like her husband said, "Where are you? Come snuggle." We've all had that. We've all had it. My husband's text, "Are you coming up yet?" I'm like, no, I'm really sorry. So if we use our time better or more wisely, or if we said that on Tuesday, Thursday, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If ifs, ands, or buts about it, we are not going to mess around with that. They are going to have that time blocked. That's huge. Okay, so make sure no matter what you do that family time is very, it is sacred, it is protected, and it is respected. You have to do that. If you don't, you're going to have a lot of times where your husband is going to be really, 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 really upset with you. Okay, you're going to be really, really upset with you. So it's one of those things that you have to say, okay, where is my time going to be allotted? And at this point, doesn't matter if your team needs you. Doesn't matter if crisis is ensuing. If they can work it out themselves, make them work it out themselves. But let's be honest, you shouldn't even know that there's a crisis because your phone should be on airplane mode, or you should be off all forms of social media and email and all of that good stuff because you're having uninterrupted time with your husband or with your kids. Let's be honest, our husbands want to feel like we need them. And when you are Miss Independent, you're like, I've got my own thing here. That's where husbands start to get like a little itchy, like, oh gosh, she doesn't need me. She doesn't need me. And it's just the difference of men and women. So we have to be really respectful of our husbands and our children at the same time. Who wrote on the screen? Are we going back to that? Okay. And then the next one over here, and I don't even know how to get that off. Who was bad? Let me go back. So a couple things. So get an early start. If you can get up 30 minutes early, if you can get up an hour early, do that. I know it sucks. Trust me, I get up at 5 o'clock. I get it. During marathon season, I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning to go across town and meet with my running partners at 5:30 because we need to get it done before our families wake up. Or we have a 20-mile run and it's going to take us 4 hours and we don't want to start at 9, then we have no family time. So I get it, but get an early start. Do less. People, you need to learn to delegate. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to create new inventions. Go online, figure out different things. Yeah, it might be time consuming at first, but figuring out different ways of doing things or copying other people is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Learn to say no. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to give up your only free night because that's the only night your hostess needs it or wants it. Oh, well. Give them to someone that would be absolutely amazing and that is going to treat you because it's good for your head. Money's not always everything. Sometimes your psychological, your health, your physical well-being, all of that is better if you are able to say no and you're not always having to do something. Lock yourself in. I'm in my office right now. I wish I could show you guys. The doors are shut. It's my time. My children, okay, that's a bad example because my children watched it and said, gave me good night. But Dad was giving me good night. If I'm in here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, my children are not coming in here. They know that Mommy's in here working for an hour, and this is Mommy work time, and Mommy will be out in an hour. So lock yourself in. Find time for stillness. Guys, self-care is extremely, extremely, extremely important. If you are not healthy, you're not going to be the best for your business. So you really need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first. Do not take care of everyone else before you take care of yourself. Think about it in an airplane. When that little mask comes down, they're not telling you to put the mask on your child first. They're telling you to put the mask on yourself first. Because without you, your child's not gonna survive. Same thing with this. Put your mask on yourself first, and then take care of the people around you. And that includes family and husband. Create a rock solid. Wow, I'm sorry. Hey, Wesley. Sorry. Create a rock solid organization skill or system. Have stuff around you. Like if you're in an immediate like little area or whatever, make sure that your area is perfect for you. That's really conducive for you. Have everything close to you, not running around in 10 different ways, because it's just going to be better for you for time. It's going to be much, 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 much better for time. And guys, you join LuLaRoe, and hopefully you're continuing to do it for enjoyment, that you're having fun. If I would have said to you how many of you guys were having like crazy amounts of fun last year at this time, every hand would have been up. And if I said to you right now, some people would be like, some days. So know that the main goal is still enjoyment for you. You have to do what you love. And if right now what you're doing you don't love, change it. But know though that right now a lot of people are struggling because sales are not what they used to be. Sales are not $20,000 a month anymore. I had someone today say that sales weren't going well, and I said, you cruise qualified. Are you kidding me? She's like, yeah, but it wasn't the same as last year. I said, I get it. I totally get it. But, when it comes down to what are you doing different? Well, I'm just doing the same. Okay, well, right now we might have to change things up. And, maybe that it's like this. We are going to go through ups and downs. So find the part of LuLaRoe that you absolutely love and focus on that. Maybe it's going in-home. Maybe it is your team. Maybe it is doing fundraising. Whatever it might be, focus on that. Don't focus on that. It's those Fred Flintstone feet. Keep going. Keep going, keep going. And realize though that, and I was talking to Cassie about this earlier, realize that even though we love this still is a job. Do I necessarily consider this my job? No. I mean, I do. Yes and no. It is a yes and no. So do you love every part of your job? No. Are you going to have those customers that are a real pain behind you? Like, are you kidding? I don't get paid enough to deal with you. Yeah. But guess what? I don't get paid enough as a teacher to deal with some of the students I have either. But sometimes it's just part of the job, and it will get better. Some months, some weeks, my kids I want to strangle some of my students on some months where I'm like, are you kidding me? And the next class, they're like angels. I'm like, who are you? Where were you a week ago when I wanted to strangle y'all? So just know it's the same thing with this business. Okay. So and I brought this into it at this point because don't let it become a time suck. Don't spend so much time on what you don't like about this business or why, oh my God, it's just not like how it used to be. If that's not making you money, thinking about what was a year ago is not making you any money or is not bringing you happiness. So I say it a billion times, don't focus on what you can't control. Focus on what you can control. And you are the deciding factor if you are happy in something or not. If someone is negative, see you later. And if that means a team player, see you later. You don't have to deal with it. It's your life. It's your business. We are all independent retailers here. If a customer's being a pain in the booty, you know where the delete button is on your Facebook page. Get them out. Okay? I mean, obviously, if you just don't want to deal with them, but try to work with them. But it comes down to don't let the unenjoyable become a time suck for you. Because we've all done it. I'm the first to say I have. And I'm the first to say, I've said it to my husband, Wes, I'm doing the same amount of work this month. And like last month, I had $8,500 in sales last month. My goal was 10. And my sales were 8,500, or 2 months ago. Last month, I didn't do that much. So 2 months ago, my goal was 10 and I hit 8,500. I said, Wes, I'm doing just as much as I was doing a year ago when I was making 20. I mean, $20,000 in sales in March of last year. And in this March, I made 8,500 and I'm doing more. I'm doing more work. And he said, yeah, and my husband's very like cut and dry when it comes to and well, okay. What are you doing? How are you making money by complaining about it? And I said, you're right. And last month, guess what? Last month I had $6,000 in sales, even less. No, I did less because of the training, but it didn't matter. It's not beneficial for me to dwell on something that I can't control. And that's one thing that I think the biggest takeaway for me with LuLaRoe is don't try to control the uncontrollable. You can't. You can't control what you can't control. So move on and try to figure out what can you control, what can you do to become happy, to get rid of time sucks, to make sales, whatever it might be. Okay. And then two more. And then the last slide, or the second to last slide, is one is going to be balance, and realize that balance is not going to be easy. There are going to be days where you're not staying on top of diddly squat and you have 5 balls, you're juggling 5 balls and all 5 crumble. Doesn't make you a bad wife, doesn't make you a bad mother, doesn't make you a bad friend. Some days just absolutely suck, and some days are not easy. But guess what? The moon always goes down or comes up, and the sun always comes back up. It's a new day next day. So start over from that next day. So if you can exercise, which is kind of a joke when it comes to LuLaRoe, because let's be honest, again, who has time? Who's got time? Eating healthy. There's a known joke around LuLaRoe. It's called the LuLaRoe diet. We've all gained like 15 pounds. I've gained 15 pounds since doing LuLaRoe. It is a fact that is a LuLaRoe diet. It's ridiculous because you're sitting here. One of my husband's biggest concerns is me staying home next year is I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat because who has got time to eat? So make sure that you're eating, you're exercising, you're eating healthy. Maybe your exercising is going to walk around. Remember those books on tape? I'm reading The Outward Mindset. Put that jam in your ear and go take a walk around the block for 10, 15 minutes. Go do 2 miles walking, or go do a mile walking while you're listening to your book on tape. So then you're getting both, you're reading, you're getting your self-education, and you're getting your exercise at the same time. If you need to go a weekend away, take your kids away. Take your kids out on a date night. Take your husband or your wife on a date night. Whatever it might be, go with your girlfriends. I'm excited to say I think Keen and I are going to go out Thursday night. It's been a long time since I've gone out with some girls. I ran on Saturday, but it's been a long time where I'm like, you know what, girls' night, I'm going out. Honey, you got the kids? Whoop, going. So go and do that. That's something that's awesome, and it's just nice to get away and not have any responsibility for a couple hours. Okay, because life is this big juggling act, and when you want to have this perfection everywhere, sooner or later one of those balls is going to fall. And then usually when one ball, think about when you're juggling. When one ball falls, they all fall. You're walking around with that plate and you're like, if you take one out, everything falls. So you don't need to be the best at everything. Just be good at everything. Try to focus on everything without being perfectionist at everything. And maybe you don't get perfection there, but you are able to do the minimum of what you need to do. We all have the same amount of time, and we're not perfect. And then remember, it's impossible to do everything. And look at that scale up there where the man in that picture. It's such a balancing act, talking about like the work, career, business, performance, responsibility. And one thing for LuLaRoe, which would be good on there, would be like comparison trap. Comparing ourselves to the next person. And how can I be as good as that other person? And that's a balance that you shouldn't have. Comparison trap shouldn't be on there, unfortunately, even though it is. So I want to make sure, though, that all of those things are just as important as life, health, family, friend, happiness. Happiness, I think, should be way up on top. Because if you're not happy in your life, you're not going to be happy with your career or your business, or your performance is not going to be there. So in the way to be happy is to have balance in your life. The biggest complaint, again, going back to the very, very, very beginning of this talk, is the biggest complaint that people have with LuLaRoe is there's not enough time. And they leave the business not because they don't like it, but because it overtook their life. And so, and then it became unhappy. They became unhappy because all those juggling balls crumbled, and their life crumbled because they didn't know how to keep everything, all those balls going at once. Okay. So in order to be successful as a LuLaRoe retailer, you have to be successful in all aspects of your life, or you have to be able to manage. You have to be able to, have your toes dipped into all aspects of your life. You have to, it's just one of those things and every single day you have to be consistent. If you make sure that you don't touch your phone between the hours of 7 to or 4 to 7, or if you get on to if you're getting on to do shipping and invoicing, and you're only focusing on invoicing and shipping, and you walk out and say, you know what, all I'm coming in here to do is invoice and shipping, and I'm walking out, that's all I'm doing. And then you go sit on the couch with your husband, guess what? You're going to be happier. Okay, you're really, really, really going to be happier. So it's just finding that balance and realizing that it's just, there's just no way for you to do it all. And it comes as everything with LuLaRoe. It's going to come back to what are your goals and what is your why. Not mine, not your sponsor, not the person next door. And Deanna said, and I hope I can say it right, the only time you should ever be looking in your neighbor's backyard is to make sure they have enough food on their table. Don't look in your neighbor's yard to compare. You're not comparing here, okay? You're just making sure that they are surviving and that they are healthy and that they are okay. That's it. You're not looking to see what they've got or where they are because you're comparing to make sure that you want to get better. We're not keeping up with the Joneses here. It has to be based off of your goals, and everything to do with time management is based off your goals and your realistic expectations and what your ultimate why is. If you're making $500, you're not going to do what I do because I'm trying to quit my job so I can put my kids on the bus. Totally different. You just can't compare. That's comparing, apples to oranges or apples to fruit or, whatever, apples to tomatoes. You just can't do it. Completely different ball games there. Okay. Okay. So, was there anything else that I did not say that you feel like would be a huge help for someone to know, or someone to something that's been really helpful for you when it comes to time management in your business? Hey, Maureen, that was you, wasn't it? The grid? You're unmuted.
Yes, it was.
Okay, that's what I thought. And that was like 6 months ago, right?
It was a long time ago. I had to think about it for a minute, but it was.
That was, honestly though, that is something that is kept with me for so long that I legitimately go back and say, okay, I've got 10 minutes. There's your blocks. You can do anything for 10 minutes.
Awesome.
If my husband wants me to go sit on the couch, I need 10 minutes. That's it. And I will jam everything I possibly can do in that 10 minutes and be done.
Thank you for giving me credit.
Well, I love it. Honestly, I absolutely love it. It has stayed with me for this long. Okay. So I don't think that there's any chats. Yeah. Sarah, Margo can take over your life. That's for sure. Okay, so any questions? Hopefully you were able to get a couple. Now it's just implementing it, because you're like, yeah, I knew all that, but yeah, I just need to implement it. I do the same thing. Like I said, there are some things that on that list I do really well, and there's some things that I suck at that I'm like, I know I need to do better. Every time I get on here to ship, I'm like, I need to turn Facebook off. I know I need to turn Facebook off, because all of a sudden my 15 minutes of shipping just took an hour, and I'm like, what happened? Like, it's now 12:30 in the morning, and I need to go, Dude, I get it.
Pretty good.
I think a lot of us do.
I told him I would ask you if we can buy more underwear so that he doesn't.
Was that asking me?
Which I guess if he stopped peeing.
I would say no. Okay. So if there's no questions, then I'm going to stop the recording right now.